In our accelerator programs, most of the time we ask founders about their goals. And when we are asking them, we divide the goals into whether they are trying to find the end users, whether they are trying to find distributors, partners, or whether they are trying to find the investors, because all of the paths are going in different directions. When it comes to the investor path, before fundraising, when it is time for a founder that they can realize that they can start fundraising, or in other words, let's say, what is the minimum viable asset to start fundraising for a founder?
So I think actually knowing what you want to do with capital is number one, and how you're going to best de-risk an investor putting in that capital to your company. And I would always frame it in that type of way. So why is someone going to part with cash in exchange for shares in your company? And all the assets are ultimately being built around that. Investor needs to build conviction in order to part with their cash in exchange for shares in your company. And that then feeds through in terms of the assets that you're producing, and the why you're producing those assets. So there's a lot of emphasis in today's world on like, how good is your pitch deck? But the pitch deck is really, it serves a purpose. The pitch deck is not the end product. I think one of the things that I've definitely observed in the market is around the founders that use the pitch deck as a means to an end, i.e. it's a means to me getting a meeting with an investor. That's a much stronger approach than, I'm going to give you a pitch deck and then I'm going to expect a yes/no response on you parting with cash. Building conviction, it's a bit like, Aaron, if you offered to sell me your house for £2 million, I've no idea whether that's a good deal or not. You might pull together a lovely pitch deck. I'm unlikely to build enough conviction from that pitch deck to decide whether or not that's a good idea. I don't have 2 million, Aaron, so I'm really sorry. But I would need to build a sufficient amount of conviction about essentially what's quite an expensive transaction for many people. Investors will be usually considering parting with a meaningful sum of money. And the idea that you would part with that sum of money as if it's, a cheap product on a supermarket shelf, it's just not the same type of transaction. And so I think founders that treat the assets as helping to build confidence and conviction in the transaction going ahead, a bit like having a floor plan for a house, or having a survey done that says whether or not actually the house is structurally sound. All of these things help you to build conviction as to whether or not you actually want to part with capital for a significant investment.